So today's shloka for the day is shloka number 30. But before we get to shloka number 30, we've been talking about how in this chapter, the Lord is speaking about how we can move from sadhana to siddhi, which means from practice to perfection. So this entire chapter is about the perfection of yoga, and specifically the perfection of dhyana yoga. So although the Lord is speaking about the perfection of dhyana yoga, Srila Prabhupada throughout his purport is talking about the perfection of Krishna consciousness, because ultimately that's what the Lord's conclusion is, which is to be practicing Krishna consciousness. So what you see in Shloka 28 is Brahman realization, the first stage of realization, which is realization of self. So in Shloka 28, the Lord is saying, thus the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. And then in Shloka 29, this specifically speaks about Paramatma realization, which is seeing the Lord in everything and everything within the Lord. A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So this is the next stage of realization, which is that every Jivatma is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So this is called Paramatma realization. Today's shloka is going to be about Bhagavan realization. So that's shloka number 30. Please recite. I will recite a few times and then you all can recite. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. Please recite after me. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra
sarvam cha mai pashyati
sarvam cha mayi pashyati
tasyaham na pranashyami
tasyaham na pranashyami
sacha me na pranashyati.
sacha me na pranashyati.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra
sarvam cha mai pashyati
sarvam cha mayi pashyati
tasyaham na pranashyami
tasyaham na pranashyami
sacha me na pranashyati.
sacha me na pranashyati.
Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Yaha, whoever, Mam, me, Pashyati, sees, Sarvatra, everywhere, Sarvam, everything, Cha, and Mai, in me, Pashyati,
Pashyati.
sees,
Sees.
tasya,
Tasya.
for him,
For him.
aham,
Aham.
I,
I.
na,
Na.
not,
Not.
pranashyami,
Pranashyami.
am lost,
Am lost.
saha,
Saha.
he,
He.
cha,
Cha.
also,
Also.
may,
Me.
to me,
To me.
na,
Na.
nor,
No.
pranashyati,
Pranashyati.
is lost.
Lost.
Translation: for one who sees me everywhere
For one sees me everywhere
and sees everything in me,
and every sees everything in me,
I am never lost,
I am never lost,
nor is he ever lost to me.
nor is he ever lost to me.
The previous shloka, the Lord talks specifically about seeing the Paramatma in every Jivatma and seeing all the Jivatmas residing within Mahavishnu. Here, the Lord is expanding our vision a little bit more, not only to see the living entities being part and parcel of Him, but also to see everything to be a part and parcel of Him, which means you see the Lord everywhere and in everything. And the Lord is saying, if you come to this platform, then you don't lose sight of the Lord, and the Lord doesn't lose sight of you. So this is actually very difficult to reach this stage of realization. But is it feasible? Is it possible? Do we get glimpses of that? Yes, it's possible. So for example, Prabhupada uses the analogy that when a mother sends the child off to school, and then later on, as she's cleaning up the child's room or picking things up, as she's picking things up of the child, she's reminded of the child's shoes, the child's dress, the child's coat, the toys, everything that the child associates with reminds the mother of the child. Similarly, everything that we associate with, the flowers, the beads, the laptop, the mobile phone, the water that we drink, the food that we honor, the trees that give us shade, you can see the Lord's energy is pervading everything in this universe. So how do we actually practically apply this in our day-to-day life? Let us say somebody has upset you. They have said some harsh things. So how do you remember the Lord at that time? Because what are you thinking about? Only resentment is growing in you because the other person has said certain harsh things that you don't accept. So the acharyas say, instead of allowing resentment to grow or to take root at the time that unpleasant things may be said about you, or at least that's how you view it as unpleasant, to rather see that the Lord that is residing within that other person is encouraging you to be a little bit more virtuous, a little bit more tolerant, a little bit more patient, a little bit more forgiving. So we can see this as a sign that the Lord is encouraging us to develop certain qualities, to strengthen certain qualities that we either don't have or are very weak. So similarly, when we come across a person that we admire, then that creates an attachment. So the first example was one of resentment. The second example is one of attachment or attraction. So when we are attracted to another human being because of the qualities they possess, then we have to remember that those qualities that is residing in that particular human being is actually coming from the Lord. Because all of the qualities, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, arises from him. So you can say that I'm attracted to this person because the qualities that they have is actually a gift to them from the Supreme Lord. Like this, you can endeavor to always see the Lord in every person and in everything, in every living entity and in all of matter. Because without the Lord's presence, nothing can exist in this world. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita that he because of his energy pervading everything, all the planets are staying in their orbit. Were it not held by his energy, all the planets would just collapse. So everything, to the very minutest of the detail, the Lord is taking care of. Therefore, the Lord is saying here, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So matter comes from the Supreme Lord, and all the beings come from the Supreme Lord. And therefore, everything belongs to the Lord. And we should make it so that the Lord belongs to us. That's the perfection of our life. That's the essence of this particular shloka.